On a distant planet called Eldara, the sky was filled with bright colors as the sun began to set. The Eldari, a gentle alien race, lived in harmony with nature. They had beautiful cities made of crystal and light. The Eldari loved their home and cared for each other. But today, their world was in danger. The peace of Eldara was shattered when the Zarvok Coalition, a powerful and ruthless group, arrived in their massive ships. The Zarvok were known for their cruel ways. They took what they wanted, leaving destruction behind. The Eldari had heard stories of the Zarvok, but they never thought the day would come when their planet would be attacked. As the Zarvok ships darkened the sky, fear spread among the Eldari. The once bright and cheerful streets fell silent. People hid in their homes, listening to the distant sounds of explosions and cries. The Zarvok began to bombard the cities, destroying homes and taking the resources they craved. The Eldari realized they had to do something. The Eldari Council gathered in their grand hall, a place filled with light and hope. The leaders, wise and brave, spoke about their options. "We must send a message for help," said Elder Ryan, his voice steady. "We cannot fight the Zarvok alone." The council members nodded in agreement. They knew they needed allies, someone who could help them fight against the Zarvok. With heavy hearts, the Eldari activated their distress beacon, a powerful device that could send a message across the stars. The signal traveled far and wide, hoping to reach any nearby civilization. The Eldari poured their hearts into the message, expressing their fear and desperation. "We are in danger. Please help us. We fight for our home," they pleaded. Meanwhile, on Earth, the signal reached a small team of scientists and military leaders at a space monitoring station. They watched as the distress signal flashed on their screens. Commander Alexia Chen, a skilled pilot with a reputation for bravery, was among them. She felt a chill run down her spine as she read the Eldari's message. "They need our help," she said, her voice filled with determination. The leaders at the station discussed the message. Some were scared. "The Zarvok are dangerous," one said. "We should not get involved." But Commander Chen stood up. "If we do nothing, they will destroy the Eldari. We have to help them!" Her words sparked hope in the hearts of those who listened. After hours of debate, a decision was made. Commander Chen and her team would respond to the Eldari's call. They began to prepare. The team of pilots gathered old human spaceships that had been gathering dust. These ships were not new, but they were strong and reliable. With the right upgrades, they could become powerful weapons against the Zarvok. As the team worked, they shared stories about the Eldari. They imagined what life must be like for them. The pilots felt a connection to the Eldari, even though they had never met. They were determined to save this peaceful race from destruction. The upgrades were completed quickly. The old ships now gleamed with new technology. Commander Chen led her team onto the launch pad, ready for their mission. The pilots felt a mix of excitement and fear. They knew the journey ahead would be dangerous, but they were ready to fight for the Eldari. As the ships lifted off, the crew looked back at Earth. They were leaving their home to help another. "We will not let them down," Commander Chen promised. The ships soared into the sky, heading towards the unknown. With every passing moment, the distance between them and the Eldari home planet shrank. In the Eldari cities, the beacon continued to pulse with hope, even as the Zarvok pressed their attack. The Eldari held on to the belief that help was coming. They prayed that someone, somewhere, would answer their call. Little did they know, humans were on their way, ready to become heroes. As the human ships soared through the stars, a sense of purpose filled the air. Back on Earth, the situation was tense. In a large room filled with screens and maps, leaders gathered to discuss the Eldari's distress signal. The bright lights reflected off their worried faces. They knew they were facing a serious decision. Commander Alexia Chen stood in front of the group. Her heart raced as she recalled the message from the Eldari. "We have to help them," she said, her voice strong. "If we don't, they might be wiped out by the Zarvok Coalition." Some leaders nodded in agreement, but others frowned. General Harrison, a tough military man, crossed his arms and shook his head. "The Zarvok are dangerous. We should not put our people at risk for strangers," he warned. "What if they turn on us?" Commander Chen took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "They are not strangers! They are innocent beings fighting for their lives. We can't just sit here and do nothing." She glanced at the younger members of the council. They looked hopeful, their eyes shining with a desire to help. After a long discussion, a decision was made. They would send a small fleet to aid the Eldari. Commander Chen was chosen to lead the mission. Excitement surged through her as she realized she would be in charge of the rescue operation. But she also felt the pressure. Lives depended on her decisions. As the meeting concluded, Commander Chen gathered her team of pilots in a smaller room. The atmosphere was electric with energy. "Listen up, everyone! We are about to do something incredible," she began, her eyes sparkling with passion. "We are going to help the Eldari fight back against the Zarvok. This is our chance to make a difference." The pilots cheered, their spirits lifted by her words. They all had a strong desire to prove themselves. Among them was Lieutenant Marco Rivera, a skilled pilot known for his quick thinking. "What's the plan, Commander?" he asked eagerly. "First, we need to gather supplies and weapons for the ships," she replied. "We must be ready for a fight. We can't go in unprepared." The team quickly got to work. They collected everything they could find: weapons, food, and medical supplies. Every item was carefully packed into their ships. As they worked, the pilots shared stories about what they hoped to achieve. Sergeant Mia Lin, a talented mechanic, looked up from her task. "What if we help them form a plan to fight back?" she suggested. "We can use our knowledge of warfare to give them an edge." Commander Chen smiled at the idea. "That's perfect, Mia. We can teach them how to defend themselves better. Together we can turn the tide against the Zarvok." The crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were not just flying into battle, they were building a partnership. Hours passed quickly as the team prepared for their journey. The night sky darkened outside, but the light inside the hangar shone brightly. Each pilot focused on their tasks, fueled by excitement and determination. The countdown began, and everyone felt a rush of adrenaline. Finally, the ships were ready. Commander Chen and her crew stood before their vessels, looking at the gleaming metal and advanced technology. "This is it, team," she said, her voice steady. "We're not just flying to another planet. We're going to save lives. We will become heroes." As the ships lifted off from Earth, the pilots looked back at their home. They knew they were leaving behind their safe lives to help others, but they also felt proud. They were answering a call for help, and that was worth any risk. The journey through space was filled with anticipation. As they traveled, Commander Chen felt a connection to the Eldari. They were fighting for their home, just as humanity had done in its past. She wondered how many lives were hanging in the balance on Eldara. Suddenly, a bright flash on the ship's radar brought everyone to attention. "We're getting close," Commander Chen announced. "Prepare for anything. We don't know what we'll find." The pilots took their positions, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The crew was united by a single goal: to save the Eldari and stop the Zarvok coalition. They were ready to become the heroes the Eldari needed. As the human fleet approached Eldara, the pilots felt a mix of excitement and fear. They could see the beautiful planet below, but it was darkened by the shadow of Zarvok ships hovering above. Commander Alexia Chen looked out of her cockpit, her heart racing. She knew they had to act fast. "Everyone prepare for entry!" she shouted over the communication system. The crew nodded, their faces filled with determination. They had trained for this moment, but the reality was much more intense than they had imagined. They could see explosions lighting up the sky, a sign of the fierce battle happening below. As the ships descended into the atmosphere, they spotted the Eldari cities. The crystal structures glimmered even through the smoke and chaos. The sight fueled their resolve. The Eldari needed them now more than ever. Commander Chen focused on the task ahead, steering her ship towards the largest Zarvok vessel in sight. "Let's show them what we're made of," she yelled, her voice strong and confident. The other pilots echoed her enthusiasm, their adrenaline pumping. The mission was clear: they had to protect the Eldari and push back the Zarvok. The moment their ships entered the battle zone, they were met with heavy fire. Zarvok ships were everywhere, their dark forms imposing and menacing. "Engage defensive maneuvers," Commander Chen ordered. The pilots expertly dodged laser blasts, weaving their ships through the chaos. "Commander, I have visual contact with the Eldari," said Lieutenant Marco Rivera, his voice steady. "They are fighting back, but they look scared. We need to give them hope. Let's fly closer to them. We'll show them we're here to help," Chen replied. The human ships formed a tight formation and flew towards the Eldari. As they approached, they could see the fear in the Eldari fighters' eyes, but also a glimmer of hope. The Eldari had their own ships, but they were smaller and not as well armed as the Zarvok vessels. Commander Chen quickly realized that they needed to coordinate their efforts. This is Commander Chen to all Eldari fighters. We are here to assist you. Follow our lead, she transmitted, hoping the Eldari could hear her. To her relief, the Eldari pilots responded. We will follow you, one of them said, their voice filled with determination. The human ships and Eldari fighters began to work together, a mix of colors and shapes flying side by side. The battle intensified. The human pilots unleashed their weapons, firing at the Zarvok ships with precision. Laser blasts lit up the dark sky, creating a beautiful but deadly light show. The Eldari joined in, using their unique abilities to distract and confuse the Zarvok. As the fight raged on, Chen felt the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Keep moving! Don't let them pin you down, she shouted, urging her team forward. The pilots responded with skill, taking out Zarvok ships one by one. The human tactics began to turn the tide, surprising the Zarvok with their boldness and strategy. But just as victory seemed within reach, the Zarvok launched a counterattack. A massive ship, larger than any they had seen, appeared on the battlefield. It was heavily armed and ready to destroy anything in its path. Watch out! That ship is coming right for us, Marco warned. Everyone stay focused. We can't let fear take over, Chen replied, her heart pounding. She quickly formulated a plan. Let's target their weapons systems first. If we can disable that ship, the others will follow. With newfound resolve, the human and Eldari pilots coordinated their attacks. They moved as one, creating a wave of firepower aimed at the Zarvok ship. The battle became fierce as explosions filled the air. Commander Chen led the charge, her ship weaving through the chaos, targeting the enemy with precision. Now, fire at will, she commanded. The combined forces unleashed a torrent of fire, striking the Zarvok ship with powerful blasts. For a moment, the battlefield was filled with light as the two forces clashed. The Zarvok ship shook under the assault, its shields flickering. The crew cheered, their spirits lifted by the sight of the enemy faltering. But just as they thought they could win, a blast hit one of the human ships, sending it spiraling down toward Eldara. No! We have to save them! Marco shouted, fear in his voice. Commander Chen felt her heart drop. We can't lose anyone today, she vowed, determined to turn the tide of battle. With her team rallying around her, Commander Chen led the charge, ready to face the Zarvok and protect their new allies. The battle had just begun, and they were ready to fight for the Eldari. The battle raged on above Eldara, and the sky was filled with flashes of light and the sounds of explosions. Commander Alexia Chen felt a surge of determination as she piloted her ship, dodging laser blasts from the enemy. The Zarvok were relentless, and their massive ship was proving to be a formidable opponent. We need to change our strategy, Chen shouted to her team over the comms. The Zarvok are strong, but we have our skills and teamwork. Let's use that to our advantage, Lieutenant Marco Rivera replied. We could create distractions to confuse them. If we can draw their fire away from the Eldari, we might just turn the tide. The rest of the team agreed, and their spirits lifted. They knew they had to work together to win this fight. All right, here's the plan, Commander Chen said, her voice steady. We'll split into two groups. Group 1, you will attack the massive Zarvok ship directly. Group 2, you will create distractions and lead the smaller Zarvok ships away from the Eldari. This way we can protect our allies and weaken the enemy. With the plan set, the pilots took their positions. The human ships split into two groups, each moving with purpose. Group 1, led by Chen, flew straight toward the massive Zarvok ship, while Group 2, led by Marco, began to maneuver away, drawing fire from the smaller enemies. As they moved, Commander Chen could see the Eldari fighters gaining confidence. They followed the humans' lead, launching their attacks alongside them. The collaboration between the humans and Eldari felt powerful. For the first time in the battle, hope flickered in Chen's heart. Stay sharp, everyone, she warned. The massive Zarvok ship was still firing its weapons, and they needed to be careful. Suddenly, the Zarvok launched a wave of smaller ships to counter the human distraction. Group 2, watch out! They're coming for you! Marco called out, trying to keep everyone informed. The small human ships began to engage in a fierce dogfight with the smaller Zarvok ships, and the battle grew more chaotic. Commander Chen focused on the large Zarvok ship. We have to hit it hard now, she called out to her team. The human ships regrouped, forming a tight formation to unleash their firepower. They fired their weapons, sending a barrage of blasts toward the massive enemy vessel. Keep firing! We can break through! Chen shouted, determination fueling her words. The crew responded, their fingers flying over their controls as they targeted the Zarvok ship. With each hit, the enemy's shields flickered, weakening under the relentless assault. The Eldari joined in, their ships moving in tandem with the humans. They fired their unique weapons, creating bright flashes that lit up the battlefield. The Zarvok were surprised by the fierce teamwork and began to falter. "This is it! We can win!" Marco cheered, his confidence soaring. The battle felt like a dance, a perfect blend of skill and bravery. But just as they thought victory was near, the Zarvok ship unleashed a powerful pulse of energy, knocking out several nearby human vessels. "No! We can't let them take us down!" Chen yelled, feeling the urgency of the moment. "Regroup and push forward!" The pilots steeled themselves, determined to push through the enemy's defenses. Suddenly, a bright light appeared in the distance. It was the Eldari's hidden fleet, a group of ships that had been waiting for the right moment to join the battle. The Eldari pilots cheered as their allies arrived, their spirits lifted by the sight of reinforcements. "Eldari fleet, join us! Let's finish this fight together!" Chen shouted, her heart pounding with excitement. The battle intensified as the new arrivals engaged the Zarvok, turning the tide even more in their favor. With their combined forces, the human and Eldari ships coordinated their attacks, striking with precision and power. The massive Zarvok ship began to weaken, its defenses crumbling under the relentless pressure. "Now's our chance! Push forward! Let's take them down!" Chen commanded. The pilots rallied, their spirits high as they unleashed a final assault. Laser blasts filled the sky as the united forces of humans and Eldari charged at the Zarvok ship. They felt the thrill of teamwork, the bond between them growing stronger with every hit. At that moment, they knew they could win. The Zarvok ship, once so menacing, began to fall back. Its engines sputtered, and it was clear they were losing. "Victory is within our grasp!" Marco shouted, adrenaline coursing through him. The united forces pushed forward, ready to claim their victory. Commander Chen felt pride swelling in her chest. They had turned the fight, and together they would save Eldara. The battle was finally over. As the dust settled and the last of the Zarvok ships retreated, Commander Alexia Chen looked around at the aftermath. The sky over Eldara was slowly clearing, revealing the bright blue and green hues of the planet below. She felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had won! "Great job, everyone!" Chen exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement. "We did it together!" The pilots cheered, their spirits high. The humans and Eldari had fought side by side, and the bond they formed in battle was stronger than any words could express. As they landed their ships in the Eldari capital, the welcoming scene was heartwarming. The Eldari people gathered to greet their saviors, their eyes shining with gratitude and admiration. Chen stepped out of her cockpit, her heart swelling with pride. The Eldari had fought bravely alongside them, and she felt honored to stand with them. An Eldari leader approached, their features elegant and proud. "Thank you, Commander Chen, and your brave team. You have saved our world from destruction," the leader said, their voice resonant with emotion. "It was a team effort," Chen replied, smiling. "We couldn't have done it without the courage of the Eldari pilots." The leader nodded, appreciation evident in their eyes. As they walked through the capital, the atmosphere was electric. The Eldari celebrated their victory with songs and dances, filling the air with joy. Chen and her team joined in, laughing and sharing stories of the battle. The human pilots felt a sense of belonging, realizing they were no longer just outsiders, they were friends and allies. Later that evening, a grand feast was held in honor of the victory. The banquet hall was adorned with glowing crystals, and the tables were filled with delicious Eldari food. As they ate, the Eldari shared their history and culture, and the humans shared tales of Earth. "Tell us more about your home," an Eldari pilot asked, curious about Earth and its people. Chen smiled. "Earth is a beautiful planet, filled with mountains, oceans, and many different cultures. But we also face challenges, just like you." She paused, thinking of the fight they had just endured. "Together we can face any challenge." The Eldari nodded, understanding the strength of unity. The conversation flowed and laughter echoed through the hall. Bonds were formed that night, deeper than any had expected. As the celebration continued, Commander Chen felt a shift within herself. She realized that this victory was not just about defeating an enemy, it was about building a new future, a future where humans and Eldari could work together and support each other against any threat that might come. The next day, as the sun rose over Eldara, Chen met with the Eldari leader again. "We should discuss how we can strengthen our alliance," she suggested. "We can train together and share technology. We are stronger together." The Eldari leader agreed. "Yes, we can create a new future for our peoples, one where we help each other." They began to outline a plan for cooperation, focusing on training programs, technology sharing, and mutual defense strategies. As the days turned into weeks, the collaboration flourished. Human engineers worked alongside Eldari scientists, sharing knowledge and innovations. The pilots trained together, learning from each other's strengths. Commander Chen felt inspired by the creativity and intelligence of the Eldari. One evening, as Chen stood on a hill overlooking the Eldari city, she felt a sense of hope. The stars twinkled above, and she thought of the battles they had faced. She knew that together, they could build a stronger future, one that would protect both their worlds. "Commander," Marco called, approaching her. "Everyone is excited about the new training program. The Eldari pilots are eager to learn from us." Chen smiled, her heart warm with pride. "It's amazing to see how far we've come. We have created something special here." As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the land, Commander Chen felt a strong sense of purpose. She was no longer just a soldier, she was a leader, a bridge between two worlds. They had fought hard, but now it was time to build a better tomorrow together. With the bonds of friendship and cooperation growing stronger each day, Commander Chen knew that the future was bright. They were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united as one.